I know that you go onto the model making websites and look at all of the fancy models, miniatures and other things that you would like to buy, and maybe sometimes you imagine having a budget of say perhaps £50, and you think, what would I get with that budget? Well, I know you do that because I do exactly the same thing, and this series is of course me doing exactly that. So hi, I'm ED-SKaR, and today I am looking at Modern Miniatures over here. Now, usually I would start these videos by saying that I am not affiliated with the company in question. I'm just doing this as a bit of fun. Now, I am still doing this as a bit of fun, but just for full disclosure, I will be doing a video for Modern Miniatures in a couple of weeks. They have asked me to do that, so just so that that's out there and people are aware. Nothing in this video is really going to have anything to do that though, because today I'm just going to go through their website and have a look at their stuff. Modern Miniatures, as the name implies, has a much more modern focus than what I'm used to. I'm used to science fiction stuff or kind of high fantasy stuff, or in the case of a lot of the models I've been doing recently, World War II, bolt action there. But in this case it's going to be kind of Cold War and more recent, and we'll have a look at that as we go. I'm going to basically go through the whole website and stack up anything that I am interested in, and then as we kind of wrap up the video I'll cut that down to £50. As we'll notice, Modern Miniatures is a European company, so we'll actually be at roughly €60. I did the I looked up that last night and it's just over €60. We'll call it €60. So this is my €60 challenge, I guess. Now I do have a few rules or guidelines, whatever you want to call them, that kind of guide the way that I do these videos, kind of what I should select. And there is a mention that I wouldn't be doing 3D models for download unless that website is only for 3D models, and that is actually the case here. Modern Miniatures is essentially an STL company, so you'd be buying the digital versions and then printing them out at home yourself. Or you don't actually have to have a 3D printer yourself, you can get someone to 3D print them for you if you have a friend in your local group, or there are 3D printing services as well, although that can get more expensive. Just going to quickly scroll down their front page and have a look at some of the things. We do mention the tabletop games. There is a few kind of Cold War and more modern war games, tabletop war games out there in 28 scale. Actually, there's also things like cops and robbers, kind of bank robberies. You want to do the heat heist, there's a game system for that type of thing. So there's a few different games that these models might apply to. Of course, we've got pre-supports, and Modern Miniatures just have a few particularly vehicles where there's a base vehicle and then add-on packs. So rather than buying everything all at once, which might be more expensive, you buy the base vehicle and then just the add-ons you're actually interested in. Now this is the one thing that I think is quite interesting, and as I mentioned, I'll be doing a video about some of the models in the future, and so I have had a chance to see them. The models come pre-hollowed, which is interesting. Usually a vehicle STL, you'll download it and it will be a solid lump. You use your slicer to hollow it and then use your slicer to cut some vent holes. Well, not in this case. This time we are having a pre-hollowed, and can't quite see it clearly in this image, but the entire base of the vehicle, in this case a BTR 82, has a big slot in it, and that slot makes it so much easier to clean, so much easier to cure the inside, which is important when you're doing hollowed models. Just a much nicer way of printing stuff than trying to work it out for yourself, hollowing it using the software and kind of cutting those holes. There's a lot of times when that doesn't work very well. You don't get the holes. The way the polygons interact with each other, it doesn't always let you cut the holes where you want them to be, and that can be annoying. Well, completely avoided by being supplied hollowed and with that big channel in the bottom. And we'll notice as we go through, I do want to kind of collect them together and look at them in one batch. We'll see if I can manage that. There are some sets with vehicles, bits of terrain and stuff like that. the type of thing where you get a bundle of stuff and you're going to print up like more than one iteration of a lot of it to fill out a gaming board. So we've got kind of Cold War stuff, and we've got police interventions kind of things. There's a bank robbery where they've got a stack of money. You can just about see that. Can you see that? You can probably just about see that. It's a big stack of money on that forklift truck there, and so on and so forth. Right, enough meandering. Let's get stuck in. So given that the name of the company is Modern Miniatures, I'm going to start in the miniatures category. And these are the figures, essentially, that they have. So this first one's kind of interesting, but not necessarily something that I would be interested in, is divers, frog divers for Special Forces raid kind of thing. They've got what look like air tanks and flippers. You could easily have a river or a dock as part of your gaming table and deploy these guys from there. What gun? Oh, it's a Glock with stuff. I didn't recognise it from the zoomed out view. It's just a Glock with bits on. And MP5 SD, nice. We have some bad guys for them to interact with. Biker gang, although that is much more of the kind of American, not really biking anymore, biker gang. They do have impressions for gang affiliations on the back as well. Bunch of heads. I like that one with the face covering. That's cool. Mohawk, always nice. And of course, you just have to hold the gun sideways because it's more accurate that way. Is that the street sweeper? The I can't remember what that was called. Just an awful little revolver shotgun thing that's just, from all accounts, really unpleasant to shoot. Oh yeah, and we've got some of the bodies with the hands and heads separate. I actually don't know for certain whether they are all supplied this way and you will glue the heads on, or whether they come like this and just a few of them have this option. I guess some of these, like the two-handed weapon poses, might be more difficult to line things up. So maybe, I don't know. So Special Forces group with ponchos, because it doesn't matter how much crime you're doing, it might still rain. This guy. I like this guy at the end. He's just so depressed and miserable because it's raining, and he's sitting there in his poncho going, that's wet. That's funny. I like that. I mentioned playing Heat at the beginning, kind of doing a tabletop version of Heat. Well, here you go. Let's get on a bank robbery there. We've got a cutting wheel to get into the safe. We've got body armor and various weapons. I think I'll actually keep these guys, the bank robbers, just because of this one. Big hammer and a cutting saw. Do the arms come separate on this one? The head comes separate. That's a shame. I would like to give him a different left arm, perhaps. I guess it's not that big of a deal. Right, let's move on to the category that Modern Miniatures is probably more well known for, and that's their vehicles. There are a lot more of the vehicles than there are the miniatures. We only saw 10 or so sets. We're going to see a lot more of them here. 9 pages, in fact, so let's get stuck in. Oh, I do want to come back to these. So Modern Miniatures has Patreon, and they release on their website sets from the Patreon. I think I'll try to collect those together, and then I'll look at those all in one go. I think that's a more interesting way of doing things. So here we have a whole bunch of Humvees, and actually just so many different sets of Humvees. That looks like a fairly standard Humvee. We've got one with a heavy machine gun and an open back. Got one with a turret on it. Another one with a turret. Different armor setups and layouts. So yeah, would you like a Humvee? If I was doing Americas, I do have some Brits in 28mm. I wasn't planning on actually playing any games with them. I was just going to paint them up as a bit more of a display kind of thing. But maybe I should get some Americans to go with them, someone to boss them around, I guess. Ooh, a Dagor. Have I seen a Dagor? I don't think I have. that's pretty cool. And actually, that's a bit Mad Max as well. So even though that is like a modern, it's one of the like light utility vehicles, completely unarmored, where you're not meant to ride into combat in this thing, but if you do get shot at, the doors are removed so you can just jump out quickly and get to some cover to return fire. That's the intention of this type of vehicle. But it is quite a bit Mad Max. Mesh plates, looks like side runners, fuel, a winch for the front, I guess. Turnstile thing, and an M2 with a scope on it. Where do those barriers... Oh, they go on the back like that. Okay. So that would definitely be interesting for the kind of Mad Max style stuff. I do have a little collection of Mad Max vehicles, but I am actually expanding my... I should probably say Wasteland, because it's not all Mad Max. I'm expanding my Wasteland collection recently, so something like this would actually fit in quite nicely. Oh, look at that! It's an adorable little helicopter. We actually have a painted example. I've noticed that on this website, some things have a painted example, but not everything does. In this case, that's just cute. I would like to see a variant of this where the canopy pieces were separate so that you could print those in a clear resin. I guess that's not a big deal, because kind of painting them like this with a reflective effect it sells the effect easy enough. But we do have access to clear 3D printing resin. It's not that big of a deal to, you know, kind of pour out all your resin and pour in some clear, do a little bit of printing, and then clear resin mixes nicely with the, like when you're done kind of printing the clear stuff, you just pour more resin over the top. It doesn't have to be the same type. You can just mix between types. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put that on the shortlist, because that is... I don't have a lot of helicopters. Yeah, I really don't have a lot of helicopters, so that's actually a cool one to add to the collection. So a city bus with playable interior. It's a shame there's no... This one, particularly anything with playable interior, I'd like to see not just painted examples, but actually examples of them with models, infantry models inside. Because can you fit a 25mm base in there? Is that what they mean by playable? I think I'll skip on the bus. One of those American security vans that you see in the films all the time, which is exactly the type of thing that this is going for. Would these be armoured specifically? I actually don't know how secure they are. I guess the back would be better locked up than the average vehicle, but is it bulletproof as well? No idea. But I guess you could just have these as delivery vans, an objective for a kind of cops and robbers type game, or as just terrain. There's something to be said for just having some vehicles as terrain. Oh, boats. Now, I do not have enough boats. What's this? This is a SOCR, Special Operations Craft Riverine boat. It's a little river attack boat with... seems to be 2 gun shields here, but no actual weapons in them. And there's 4 of them, actually, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. The... pilot's station? Helm? I think it's called a helm on them. Is it called a helm on a boat? I don't know. I do have the plan to do a little bit of, not so much like a proper waterway, but some water edge stuff. I do have some things that I want to do, and this would actually be a good option for that. I just have to put some machine guns in each of the mounts. A Dushka maybe, DP-28. I've got a few of those spare from the bolt action kits, and they would look kind of cool in that actually. Oh, that's handy. I didn't see these earlier in the infantry section, although kind of the miniatures section. They might have been there, but these are certainly a vehicle accessory. This is all of the just crew sitting down. Do they come with the seats attached? They do not. Good. So I guess you could print these out separately and glue them in. Given that I'm thinking of having the What vehicle was it? The Dagor, yes. Given that I'm thinking of having the Dagor, I might actually keep these on the shortlist for the moment. I was thinking more kind of wasteland than modern for the Dagor, but no, they're pretty cool. They'll go in there nicely because that's what they're designed for, I guess. The last of the V8 interceptors, the pursuit car. I'm definitely thinking far too Mad Max in this video. Is that a bus version of a Humvee? Like, is this a camper van version of a Humvee? Oh, ambulance. Does the stretcher go up? You can't, do you? You'd be able to tend to your patient if they're up in the roof. Also, they'd be really high up, and that's going to bounce around way more. The higher up you are in the vehicle, the more you get bounced around. That can't be it. Maybe it might be for storage, like medical equipment goes up there. That's more likely. Although, having never been in an ambulance Humvee, I have no idea. Oh, and you get the stretchers as well. I've been on one of them. No, not one of them. The two pieces that they put under you and clamp together. I've been on one of those. Not a pleasant experience, but... ooh, there's actually a wrecked version of the Humvee here. So, some battle damage, flat tyre. Looks like that tyre's actually ripped off completely. Yeah, look at that. Love that. Shattered windscreen. Well, one of the doors off its hinges. Saves you the effort. I think that I would rather have the normal version of the Humvee, because then you could print one as a nice model Humvee for your models to use, but then also print another one and kind of rough it up a bit like this, because it's not too much trouble to, like, if the wheels are separate, you just print the lump instead of the wheel, or if the doors are or aren't separate, you can just scratch up the outside, put bullet holes in. But saying that, this is really nicely done. This is probably nicer than I'd be able to do. If you gave me like a 3D printed vehicle and said, like, make it look like a wreck, this would look nicer than what I would come up with. So there's certainly something to be said for that. Oh look, a BTR-80. Gee whiz. Maybe I'll skip over this one until a future video. The logging version of the Ural with the crane that picks up the logs and chucks them in the back. Does it come with logs? Do you not come with logs? Modern Miniatures, does this come with logs? Because it really should come with logs. I'd like to have that just as a piece of terrain, because that's fun. And we've got a couple of variants of the Mancat, the German just truck, military truck. Modern armies are taking the idea of not just using a off-the-shelf civilian vehicle, off-the-shelf kind of, you know what I mean. They're actually making specific variants for military use, which, yes, they're more rugged, but they're also more expensive. So is it worth it? Who knows? Ooh, that's definitely going on the short list. A swamp boat with the cage, and that. Here's something I like about Modern Miniatures, is because everything they have is specifically designed for printing. And so this, if you found something like this on Thingiverse, this mesh would end up printing very poorly, I imagine. But just looking at it from these images, I'm much more confident in Modern Miniatures design and how well this would print. And like I said earlier, I think I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about doing some River's Edge stuff, and actually this would be perfect for that. So this 100% going on the short list. A truck. I don't want to be impolite about this, but just a normal truck is maybe not the type of STL that I'd be buying. I would probably go and look around at the free options. There's quite a lot of just generic stuff like this. You can find free versions, and I'm sure that Modern Miniatures put a lot of effort into making sure that this prints really well. like I said, I've looked at some of their stuff before. I have in hand some of their models, so I know that the quality is going to be good. But for something as generic as a cargo truck or just a normal civilian car, I'd probably go with the lower quality option, because I print a few of them out, paint them up in different ways, different colours, graffiti up one of them maybe. They're going to be used more for terrain than anything else, so the lower quality, for me, is probably enough. Ooh, another helicopter. No, I think I prefer the other helicopter over this one. It's not to say I can't pick both, but I'm actually I'm gonna drop this one and keep that first one. Undercover van. Is this? No, it's not the mystery machine, because that didn't have windows in the side. Again, a very generic vehicle, especially for an undercover van. You want it to be generic. There is something very satisfying about this truck. It's very truck-like, very, very big and ostentatious and American. Americans don't do a lot of things well, but what they do well is whatever this is. I think, again, this goes back to my comments earlier on somewhat generic vehicles being... I'm happy with a lower quality version, but it's really nice. All the details are there. Windscreen wipers, the vents at the front, the side mirrors, all of the detail in the wheels. So if you wanted a nice model of a car, this is definitely a good option. For me personally, I'd probably end up with a low quality one. What on earth is that? Is that a real thing? So apparently that is a real thing. The Bearcat with the ladder on it. Surely that's such a specific... I get that a fire department or a police department might make good use of something like this. A vehicle with a ladder attached to it so you can get into a first story of a... You know what I mean? But it's also such a specialized vehicle. What's this doing the rest of the time? Because even in a like a city or something, you're not going to be using this a lot, surely. How often do you have to rescue someone from an upper story, or how often do you have to breach and clear an upper story? It can't be common enough for you to need a dedicated vehicle for that. Really, that's weird. I mean, it's a cool model of the real thing, so actually I might actually consider keeping this in my collection, again for the wasteland stuff, because we've got this platform on the top. I might do away with this little staircase, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll keep the staircase and have it as a boarding ramp for when you want to attack the big rigs. But that's such an odd thing. I get the utility of it, but just how often would it get used? Is that the mystery machine? That looks more like the mystery machine, right? Flat sides. A forklift. Okay. Mandatory is the forklift truck. We have a little running joke between me and a couple of other players that we have to have our little science fiction forklift truck. But what I don't have actually is a modern forklift truck. And from Modern Miniatures, that's the perfect place to get one. And that is a very nice rendition. There's loads of detail on it. All the little bits, a little lamp. Pressure tank at the back for the pneumatics. That one's gloriously rusty. Love it. And I imagine, yeah, does it work with all the pallets? I guess it does. Yeah, that's cool. I want one of them. I definitely want one of them. Construction site. There's a board game I saw recently where you actually play a what's it called? A road roller, whatever this is called, to flatten out the tarmac as it's laid. It was just a cards board game. There was no miniatures with it, but you could add miniatures to it, and this would be great. What we got? Cones, traffic cones, the lights things, barriers. And traffic lights. That's a nice little set, actually. That is a nice little set, and therefore it's going to stay on our shortlist for the moment. The ever-growing shortlist. It's quite a long shortlist, as shortlists go for. Ooh. ZU-23. That is not a 152mm autocannon. No, it isn't. It is a 23mm. So that's a pair of 23mm autocannons on a rotating platform anti-air mount. That's cool. I like that. I want one of them for my front garden. Ooh, fuel Bowser. Yeah, that's a boring but practical thing. Is that a little squished? No, that's just a shit. It looks like kind of like it's been squished a little bit. It's playing with my eyes a bit, but no, the wheel here is round, so I guess it's supposed to be that shape. But yeah, fuel and water? Fuel Bowser trailer. Useful thing to have. And a switchblade drone with a launch rail. So is that a folded version? Can't quite see from the angles of the pictures, and it's the only picture we have. Yep, description doesn't have much information. A couple of those on some flight stands, and a team with the launcher. Oh, there is a fully folded version. Okay. Well, we said it was modern miniatures for modern wars. Well, what says more modern than that? Okay, the next pack is... I'm in the wrong section. So the next section is objectives. Oh, let me just grab out the Patreon packs, because we will look at those in a moment. Okay then. There's a corpse tied up there. Stacks of money, a guitar. Always worth having a guitar in 28mm, because that can go with my Stalker models. Oh, there's actually data discs. That's not stacks of money. Oh, this is server racks. I'll have to show this to my computery friends. They will enjoy this, I'm sure. Oh, there's another guitar case with an AK and a Mac 11 in it. Or Mac something. Is there a closed... There isn't a closed version of the guitar case. I would like that, given that you've gone to the effort of moulding it, kind of give us the closed version as well. Oh, is that an 84? It is an 84, and a law in both folded and extended, and an AG30. No, an M320. I was going to say, I've got the S80 with the AG36. I don't have the standalone variant. Similar weapons. I'm not going to say they're very same, but single shot breech loading grenade launchers are how complex can they really be? Oh, an RPG-7 with all of the warhead types. So the traditional. Is that the 80mm shape charge? We've got the tandem shape charge, and the, I'm not sure what that is. That's the frag ammunition, and we have the tube unloaded and also the shells. These don't have the booster attached. Is the booster included? I don't see any mention of the booster. So for those that don't know, when you unpack ammunition for the RPG-7, obviously you've got the weapon itself and the ammunition. The ammunition comes in two pieces. This is the warhead, or the main rocket, and you get a booster charge, which is just a tube that you screw onto the back, and then that whole thing gets loaded into the main weapon. But in this case, you've got the warheads, but you don't have the booster charge. The booster charge is a tube. It's literally a cylinder. You could, if you have the ability to 3D print, you can make the booster charges. So I take it back. This is not a big deal. Cylinder of the correct diameter, extrude it out, and you're done. That's it. I don't think I've ever seen a miniature. What are they called? Like water cooler jugs. There's a name for this specific thing, but That's a weird thing, but okay. Okay, the next section is scatter terrain, so I'm guessing we're going to be seeing smaller bits. Traffic lights and dumpsters, that's just city street stuff. That's useful bits to have. I'm seeing a lot of duplicate things of stuff I've already looked at. Oh, these are nice tents. I actually did print some tents recently from Thingiverse, and they were fine. These are actually much nicer. And I know someone's going to do the whole, you know, when you have the model sailing ships and you put the string on, you can do that for these. And like I said, those are better than the tents that I printed previously. Just pelly cases. Yeah. There's a stack of pelly cases. There's a big one, open and closed. A small one closed. Is there this small one open as well? I see there looks like there's 3 sizes, because this type of case is used for lots of things, just all sorts of equipment, not just weaponry. So actually, yeah, having this would be useful for a lot of modern dioramas in a lot of situations. I'm not so certain about this. So this is a road tiling system. I'm not sure that I'd be able to print something that thin with enough consistency. But also these tracks are very deep, so I'd want to be texturing over them. So I'd end up using loads and loads of mud effect. These would print much nicer in FDM. I'm thinking of resin printing. These would be much nicer off of FDM. And it actually says down here in the description, FDM printer. Yeah. I have an FDM printer, I keep forgetting, because it doesn't work. I don't have a working FDM printer. Maybe I should get that fixed and try something like this. Logs! Logs, yes. Let's put these logs on the logging URL that we saw earlier. Alright, on to the next section, which is the weapons sets. And a lot of the cases, this is just a bunch of very similar weapons in a set. If you were making A to GM set, what's that? 9M133 Cornet. Yeah, like I was saying, bunch of similar weapons if you're making a squad of infantry, or if you're making like a diorama and you want some strewn weapons around, this is the type of thing you'd go for. Or if you want a massive anti-aircraft gun for your front garden, like I do. Ooh, M79. A Barrett and M79, and is that a Milcore? M107. No, M32 MGL. They're not really contemporary, because this is 1970s, and this is... Oh, was it in the 90s, or was it off? I think it's post-90s. Every variant of AK under the sun. Actually, yeah. So we've got folding stock with extended and folded, and we've got solid stock variant, and then we've got a stickle brick. Do you remember when we called every firearm with a rail system? We just called it stickle brick gun. God, that's old-fashioned term, that is. But we've got mags. We've got polymer waffle mags here, but these are the steel slabs, ribbed magazines, and the drum as well. But we don't have a separate version of the polymer mag. That's sad. I've noticed this a lot with some of the other sets as well. There'd be an obvious bit that could come separate that isn't shown in the image as being separate, and I don't know if it is. Yeah, it looks like it's not. Looks like you just get the ribbed mag and the drum mag separate, not the polymer waffle mag. That's a shame. Ah, Dushka. Yes. Big old thing. What's the Dushka's a 1930s design, and it's still in use. It's pretty much the Eastern M2 in so many ways. It's the heavy machine gun that was made 100 years ago and is still in service. Or not quite 100 years, but still in service. And ammo cans. This is actually a useful thing. I will keep that on the shortlist just because I would actually like the Dushka. Okay, we're moving on to a set of buildings now, or the buildings category. And a normal civilian house with, oh good grief, all of the bits are separate. Can you actually build this in different orientations, or is it just designed to... Is that a corner piece wall? Not 100%, but there's a couple of different versions of roof, there's a couple of different versions of wall, so this is the type of thing where you buy it once but you print a bunch of them for your gaming table. You can make a nice little village or suburban area. So one purchase go will do most of a table, certainly the buildings of a table, and the doors and the window frames are separate, so you can print the walls in FDM and then the detailed bits in resin. Ooh, nice. I like that. Bunker entrance with a big cage door. That's very Stalker, that is. And yeah, all of the damage here and the rebar sticking out, the reinforcements for the concrete. That's cool. That's going on the shortlist. Again, I keep thinking some of the stuff that I do that is more modern, a lot of the Stalker and Zona Alpha stuff is in the range that Modern Miniatures does. That kind of Soviet Cold War era. Some brick walls with, I like the interlocking sticks, so you can have a corner or you can block it off and just have it as the end of a wall. This is, I wonder, are these compatible with the house? There's actually no description on this at all. Are these walls compatible with the Eastern European house? And can you use the two sets together to make bigger buildings that are different shapes, perhaps? That would be nice to know. Secret tunnel, secret tunnel, secret tunnel. This just looks like a like the basement entrance that's outside of the house. I've always wondered why if you have a basement that's directly underneath your house, like that's essentially part of your house, why not just have a staircase that goes down? Why have this outdoors? You have to go outdoors to the hatch to climb down into it. It seems odd. I'm sure there are reasons for it. It might be easier to build, or it might be to do with security, that if they break into the basement, they're not going to break into the house. But then you'd have to break into the house to break into the basement if it was on the inside. Oh, actually, if you're going to store stuff in your basement and you don't want to drag it through the house, you'd want to hatch on the outside. Maybe that's why. Yes. If you see something that's weird that some other group of people are doing and you don't necessarily understand it, there's probably a reason and you just have to think about it, or maybe ask them and they'll tell you. Yeah, well, secret tunnel, nicely detailed as we've seen with everything else so far. I actually really do like the brick texture that Modern Miniatures uses, but just by itself I don't think we'll look at that anymore. Right, we're rolling up to the end. We've just got the terrain section left, and a lot of this is stuff we've already seen because certain things can fit into multiple categories. And actually, weapon crates. With the same magazines and weapons as the weapon set, but now they're in crates. Oh, now that is really interesting and odd. Modular sidewalk tiles and curbs, or footpath pavement, where you print off every single brick and paving slab separately and then glue them all down individually. That's like the that's what people do with the foam that's what people do with the foam game boards and terrain bits. They make lots and lots of little bricks and glue them all together. Well, now you can do it with 3D printing as well. I'm not sure I would want to do it this way. Although, that said, I'm not sure what way I would like to do it. So maybe I would do it this way. Who knows? I don't want pavement on any of my gaming boards, so it's not particularly relevant. Oh, and just like that, we have finished. So, I have actually a shortlist. No, we're not finished, because I separated out those Patreon packs. They're the bigger packs of a whole bunch of things in a little bundle together. So let's have a look through them. So Humvee with a shed, a little brick outhouse, perhaps some fences and barrels. That's not a particularly exciting one, but I think this is the smallest one, so we can forgive it perhaps. Trailer park. The description doesn't include enough information. Again, trailer park. So what bits are included? I assume the caravan trailer, and I assume the what are these called? Americans call them RVs, camper vans. But do you get like the electrical stuff, the bins and all of that? I hope so, because that is a cool set if you do get all of that stuff. And this is, again, going back to the type of games that this Modern Miniatures makes models for. If you got this set and it does include all that stuff, you'd print off a couple of each of them and you'd get a whole gaming board out of it, or a decent chunk of a gaming board out of it. The Smuggler's Harbour with nice speedboat, and another one, some loaded equipment. Is that just bricks of money in the background? Generator, a crane. That's a nice crane. Oxyacetylene, good. You want that lying around when you might have a gunfight. Makes things exciting. And a bit of a jetty going on. Let's have a quick look through. I wouldn't want to print that in one piece. I like the texture. I would like to maybe print off the surface of this as one piece and glue it to a brick of foam. I like the jetties, the wooden, because this has really nice texture on it for the wooden walkways. I actually do really like that. What's that? Is that stone texture? Concrete, perhaps? I'm not sure. Stacks of money. And the speedboat. I like the speedboat, actually. Did we see the speedboat separately? I don't remember seeing the speedboat separately. I actually think I will keep this this bundle just for the moment, because the speedboat's cool, but also the wood texture here is quite nice, and I can think of a lot of things that I could do by printing out a bunch of those. Is it textured on the other side? That's the real question, because none of these pictures show it from the underneath. So could you make a fence out of it? If you put it upright, you've got texture on one side, but do you have that texture on the other side? A cargo train set. So we have track sections, so we can print off a bunch of that, go across the board. An engine, an open bed wagon, and a sealed cargo wagon. An enclosed cargo wagon, rather, with the big side doors. That's the stereotypical kind of American style of cargo train there. Certainly useful for things. I did ask Modern Miniatures about their railway, the gauge of their track, and they said that it's not conforming to any pre-existing gauge. It's just based on their scaling of the models. They came up with the appropriate scale of track, or appropriate gauge of track to fit that scale. So this is not going to be compatible with anything else, but then we don't actually have a decent 28mm railway set. I would love for Hornby to come out with a consistent 28mm, whatever the gauge would be, whatever the scale would be, 1:56 I would hope. But that hasn't happened yet, and so Modern Miniatures has gone with the one that fits their models based on how they work. Ooh, that's cool. Jungle Airport. Can we have a bigger version of that picture? Isn't that cool? And again, talking about having multiple planes, or once you have the STLs, you print multiple of the same thing. So this is one plane that they've printed 3 times and painted in different colours, scattered them around. Looks great on a gaming table. Does this set also include the forklift truck? So we've got some oil tanks, some trees, some bananas. Those are not bananas. The airport's tower. Oh, it does include the airport's tower. I'm going to include this one because the plane's kind of cool and the tower's kind of cool. It doesn't seem like things like the forklift truck and the fences are included, but enough stuff is included to make that an interesting idea. A forward operating base with lookout positions, watchtowers, Oh, these are, what are they called? Answers in the comments, I can't remember. These are a replacement for sandbags. So rather than having a sandbag that is big enough that one soldier can lift it and throw it around, these are like essentially a huge cage with a kind of a canvas lining, and you just stand there with a spade and you build it in place, and then with a spade you fill it up with sand. And these end up being more secure than just a pile of sandbags. When you come to dismantle it, you can pull out the wire. You can actually see it. It's actually clearly modelled in this, like right here. This is the connection point. So you pull out the wire there and kind of tip the bag over, and all the sand just comes straight out. So when you're finished in a location and you're packing down, it's much more easy to do. Although we do have a watchtower with more traditional sandbags. That could be, that's generic enough that could be World War II, actually. So I would like this as well. Storage containers, Portaloo. Gotta have the Portaloo, you need that. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I'm going to keep that on the short list for the moment. And a construction site. What construction's happening here? These poor guys are not feeling up to it. Ooh, digger. Oh, it comes in separate pieces. You compose it. Oh, actually, not just can you pose it, you can actually put this. Oh, okay, you can't pose that bit. That joint pinned, so you can move it as well. And you can certainly have that unglued, so you can rotate it as well. Oh, that's cool. And a modular building set. Print off these things with the pillars, and you slide in wall sections. So what we've got? Bricks. Is that foam core? There is something wonderfully meta, I guess is the term, about 3D printing a material which has been used in model crafting for so long. Because they are foam core. They're the foam sheets that people use to make a lot of modelling stuff out of. That's funny. Do we have a list of the wall sections? No, we don't. Piles of I don't think we need a pile of rubble to 3D print. Like just a lump of milliput and sand over the top, or baking powder for a finer grit. Wheelbarrow and cement mixer. Cool. Yeah. I like this one actually because there's a lot of those little bits that go together to make it, and there's enough wall sections there. Like the way that you actually would build those, you could end up with a whole gaming table or part of a gaming table as a construction site. And if you really wanted to, you could walk home, you could take a shortcut through the construction site and accidentally meet an alien, and then you can turn into animals. Please someone get that reference. Oh, it's not foam. They're concrete blocks. Oh, that's disappointing. I'm going to still pretend that that's foam insulation and not concrete, but I think that's actually supposed to be concrete in the background there. I like the way... Ooh, this is painted quite nicely. Digger. Big old digger. Big old heavy machinery. Makes man brain happy. Right, okay then. Let's start on the whittling down process. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I do the £50 challenge, but we have 60 euros this time because this is a website in euros. I will start by going through and picking out my big spend and shuffling all of the stuff that I really want. It's just off the top of the screen, but I've got a bunch of tabs open. So I'll start at one end and work my way through. Anything I really want gets shoved over to one end. Anything that's a big purchase gets shoved to the other end, and then I will cut down to one big purchase. Usually I say my big purchase is £25, so that will be 30 euros, basically half the total value. So what have we actually got? The bunker entrance, I like that. The Dushka heavy machine gun, it's only 4 euros, so it's a smaller one. I probably will keep that just because it's a cheaper option. The tents, maybe I don't need the tents. I do have some tents, although these are nicer. I've got some tents now. The logs. Okay, I only opened the logs because I want to put the logs on the URL. So that can go. The RPG-7 set, I think we can do away with this as well. Okay, I don't need the water jugs either. That was just a funny thing that I haven't seen before. Construction site. This is good. And if I keep the other construction site, I might combine them because I don't think the road roller was part of that other set. The anti-air gun. Yes, this is cool. This is cool. This just looks very satisfyingly chunky and mechanical. Yes, I like it. Fuel water Bowser. Yeah, maybe I don't need that. It's an interesting thing. The Bearcat. This is a silly thing. I think I'm going to keep the Bearcat for the moment, but I probably will drop it fairly quickly because it's silly, it's fun, but not necessarily the kind of thing that I actually am interested in. Forklift truck is a big yes. Definitely want the forklift. And the swamp airboat. Definitely want that. That's going right to the top of the list. Oh, the little helicopter. Was I really interested in it? I don't have a lot of helicopters, and it would be nice to have a few helicopters. And this does come as a civilian, well, just standard variant, and also an up-weaponed variant with the missile pods and the Gatling guns. Let's keep it for the moment, but again, like the Bearcat, this might get dropped. Oh, the other boat. Do we have to fight between... I'm not sure if we have to fight between them yet, but the riverboat's definitely going to win, and it's also cheaper, so almost certainly if it comes down to picking a boat, the airboat's winning in that fight. Vehicle crew. Now, there's a lot of utility in this, in terms of the different heads, the different poses. I probably will keep this as well, just for the moment, just in case. Ooh, bank robbers for the heat. Reenacting heat on the city streets. Oh no, I can't do that because I have to get the city pavements then, don't I? I think I can do without these. I think I can drop these. The Dagor vehicle. I definitely wanted the Dagor, so that's going to the top of the list. Right, so now we've finally got to, I guess, all of the big stuff is at the far end. So anything that's 30 euros or more is going to be here. There's actually only 4 left. So it's the harbour with the wooden planking that I liked and the boat that I liked. We've got the jungle airport, which has the planes that I liked, and also the watchtower, which is really cool, really useful thing. Do those ladders go on the outside? They go on the outside, right? That was 40 euros though. This one was 30. The fob, the military fob, is actually only 20 euros. Oh, that's less than I thought it would be. But we have the watchtower with the sandbags, kind of the old-fashioned sandbags, which has a lot of utility. So I think that is going higher up on the list than the others. And then the big construction site with the crane. I think, as much as I like the harbour, a lot of that stuff that I wouldn't print. It's really the... I'd print 1 or 2 of the speedboats and then some of this wooden planking. So I think I can drop that because I'd get more utility out of this. The planes and the tower are going to be more useful. And there's all these other bits in here as well that I would certainly get some use out of. As the military fob is less than 30, I'm actually going to shuffle that over into the midsection rather than into the high value section. So we are now coming down to a fight, 40 euros each. The construction site, which has the buildings that you can make loads of and have a whole gaming table, and a digger, diggy, cool thing, or Jungle Airport, which has loads of small scatter bits, and the plane, and the tower. This is a tough fight. Both of these go a long way to making a gaming table. Certainly if you're playing like a skirmish game, like a Special Forces raid, where you're playing maybe 4, 5, 6 models on each side, then both of these sets are a complete gaming table. This one doesn't have the forklift truck in it. It's in the picture, but it's not in any of the sets down here. So I'm going to be getting the forklift truck. But if it was in the set, then I'd pick this set, because then I could have it in the set rather than separately. I think I'm going with the airport. Yes. Yes, I prefer the airport. The airport's the right choice. So let's go through and see how much stuff we've got left. Yeah, so I have a lot of stuff. To get myself down to $60, I need to get rid of more than half of what is here. That is gonna be tough. So I'm gonna have to be harsh on myself. What do I really want? What is the stuff that I'm actually going to use? Or if I bought it, what would I end up using? And what's the stuff that's just kind of cool but less interesting? So the forklift is a big definite. Airboat, big definite. The Dagor, I like it. It's higher on the list, maybe not a definite. The Riverine boat, I think we can drop the Riverine boat. Oh, it's gone now. Yeah. Bunker entrance, definitely like that. Just because it's a cheap option, so we'll keep it in case we can slot it in at the end, but it's probably getting dropped otherwise. Ooh, but the construction site. We got rid of the big construction set. So if we take the little construction set, we at least get some constructy stuff. The anti-air gun. Oh, the anti-air gun is so cool. Bearcat. I think I mentioned this earlier. It's a fun little thing. It's so weird, but I think I'm going to drop it. Special Forces crew. Let's keep the vehicle crew for the moment because we do still have the Dagor on the list. The helicopter. Yeah, I think we get rid of the helicopter as well. I can imagine myself printing a bunch of these. Oh, if we had the airport, yeah, you print a bunch of the planes and you print a bunch of the helicopters. Oh, that makes me sad because I think I'm getting rid of the bye-bye helicopter. Bye-bye. Oh, I still need to cut it in half. I still need to cut this by so much. The military fob, I think, as cool as that watchtower is, I think the €20 of this needs to go. Oh, actually, if I had the jungle airport for €40, I would only have €20 left to spend on the other things. And my absolute definite things I really, really want are more than that. So I think I can't have the jungle airport. Sadness, but bye-bye. Bye-bye to the big spend. We haven't done that very much in this series before. Usually I manage to keep the £25 or the £30, whatever it is. I manage to usually keep that and have some smaller things. But in this case, I think we're dropping the big one. Yeah, I think that might be it. So let's throw everything into the cart and see how we got on. It's been absolutely painful. Yeah, there we go. So we had to pick right at the end. We had to pick one of the smaller things, and it was either the anti-air gun or the ED-SKaR that had to go. And I've picked the anti-air gun, and I've got rid of the ED-SKaR. What a shame! That's so close to making it through. But we had to have our lawn ornament, the anti-air gun there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets we've got. Yeah, so like I said, we kept the anti-air gun just because it's a cool bit of machinery, and I like that. We got the spinny thing to raise up into the air, sighting system, loads of ammo, just a cool thing. The construction site, a nice thing to make some terrain out of. Actually, having a thought, given that I've been talking about wasteland stuff the entire video, a wastelanded version of this, if I printed this out and put spikes all over, oh, that would be a thing. The Dagor, certainly very cool vehicle. What were the accessories? So we got the AE, the M2 Heavy, winch, fuel, some of the other stuff as well. Definitely the type of thing that I would print a couple of. I might do one in an American style, but I'd certainly do one in a wasteland style as well. If I could just find some models with the appropriate armor to have hanging off of this thing, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, we did have to drop the crew, kind of the modern crew, to go inside the vehicle. We have the bunker entrance. I just like the idea of putting some stuff hidden in there that you can see, making a little diorama out of it. I wonder if this door actually opens. Is that a separate piece? I'm not certain that it is. I don't necessarily know, but I mean, 3D printer resin is pretty fragile. You can snap that and have it broken open, bent inwards. But that is a cool thing as well. The mandatory forklift. If I'm going to have some modern gaming boards, I need a modern style forklift truck, because we have to have a forklift truck on every gaming table. That's the rules. And the airboat. Like I said, I want to do some river edge stuff. If only I had the dock with the little jetty, the wooden planking. It would go nicely with this, but that's what we've chosen. And it comes to just under our €60 limits, €58.46. I'm not going hunting for something that's €1.50 to squeeze in to get one last thing. There we go. It's been a while since I've done one of these £50 challenge videos. I always think that while I'm recording it that it's not terribly interesting, but you guys seem to enjoy it. So do let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed this kind of thing. I did say earlier that I am doing a video for Modern Miniatures, and I maybe have sneakily chosen things that I'm not going to be featuring in that video, so do pay attention to what's coming up for when that comes out. I hope it will be in a couple of weeks' time. It shouldn't be too long, but as this is a separate video from that, actually nothing that I've chosen on this list is stuff that I'm actually going to be getting. So it's a strange way that things work out. Yeah, I've chosen a lot of cool stuff here. I will let you get back to your daily routine now, because I have occupied you for far too long. I shall see you next week for something completely different, and in a couple of weeks' time for something very much Modern Miniatures related. But for now, I'm ED-SKaR, always will be. Thank you very much for watching.